they get an injunction against fake profiles, it's going to put them out of business because that's how they make money. But if you're a big affiliate, because they're going to get all this information from the dating sites and they're going to see where the money's going. And if you're getting a lot of the money from the bogus dating site, they're going to look at you. And as an advertising affiliate, are you as likely to get the FTC after you as the dating site itself? No. But if you're pocketing a lot of money, they're going to look real hard at you, and the risk you're running is horrendous. That's my advice to you.
Now we're going to go to Joe right now, and then we'll take your questions. Actually, let's take your question now.
Why aren't those companies leaving the country? Why aren't those companies leaving the country?
Sure.
It does also,
Microphone.
does also
That's
apply
okay.
for international affiliates.
I have to answer that.
That's fine, go.
Because here's the clients that I'm representing right now aren't in the U.S. The FTC's arm reach extends past U.S. borders. If you have one U.S. customer, the FTC says that that's enough for jurisdiction. If you use a U.S. biller, a U.S. host, advertising, if you do anything in the U.S., the FTC says that's enough. And I'm assuming that most of these guys have at least one U.S. customer. But that's the answer. They have the jurisdiction.
And even for the affiliates.
Even for the affiliates, because the affiliate itself, it's the same thing. And in fact, in the actual code, it even shows you that they can, in most criminal cases, it becomes very problematic to get past certain corporate shields. The FTC in the U.S. code that they actually rely on to get their authority, it has it right in there that they can go after individuals that are associated with the actual party that they're seeking. Company, non-company, doesn't matter.
And they can go after your billing processor too.
Yep.
They notify your billing processor that you're violating the FTC Act. If the billing processor doesn't cut you off, then the billing processor gets a CID. And believe me, none of them are going to take any risk about doing that.
Joe.
This issue first came to my office in 2004. In that era, the auto bot replies had not been invented yet. And girls were actually hired to respond to emails and to chat and to text. And it looked pretty scary back in 2004 because the Federal Trade Commission looked like it was swooping in and swooping out. And I'm not at liberty to tell you exactly what I did and how I handled it, but in the end, the Chicago office of the FTC referred it down to a state attorney general and probably made a phone call on the side and told the state to forget about it, and that's actually what happened in that case in 2004. So these cases sometimes can win. I'll tell you this much. The FTC is about catching crooks. I'm talking about reprobate people who cheat, who misrepresent, who steal from people. And the key to getting them on track and away from you is to make sure you don't cheat them and you don't steal them. I started writing, in light of what I knew about the FTC in 2004, when dating sites have come to me, I've written terms and conditions, protocols, and advice that goes from the front page to the back page of these sites. It says this is for entertainment and amusement only, prominently. The terms and conditions in 3 different places say, look, we know you're here for entertainment. You want to flirt with girls. And in order to better satisfy you, we not only have some real girls who are signed up for this program, but we have bots that are almost indistinguishable from real girls. And we promise you that for your money, you're going to have a really good time. Zero deception. The truth is, these guys frequently do come to these sites for entertainment, amusement, and flirting. That's the only interest we supply. We don't promise them traction and vaginas and blowjobs. We promise them an entertainment and amusing experience. And if you're lucky enough to have been my client in the past, or if you're lucky enough to have stolen my terms and conditions from one of the sites that I prepared them for, I suspect you're in a position where you have some serious arguments to defend these matters. I think what Tom was getting at is, why is this all so negative and so scary? Can anything be done? And the answer is yes, something can be done. Tell the truth and make an honest buck and provide them a good entertainment experience and tell them about the bots. They're going to read it or they're not going to read it. You're not going to hide it in terms and conditions. You're going to put it on the front page. That, like, they used to have these vending machines for condoms, and they would say for amusement only. Well, that's what your vending machine is
For
going to say.
prevention of
For-
disease.
Do we have any other questions?
I just have one little follow-up on that.
Quick.
I know the white label is going to be talked about at some point, but I think it's important that if I have white, you want to do the link?
No, you don't need a mic.
If I have a white label, if I have a white label, it's got mydomain.com in it, whether it's alias or not, dating.wasteland.com. It says wasteland at the top. I own the domain. It's being sucked in and hosted by way of DNS over to the various dating sites. Does that make me more culpable for this? Because I own the domain, it's got my brand at the top, and all of these little girls I'm going to talk to, the bots, does that make it worse?
Yes, it does, because you're big.
I'm not that big.
You're a nice, juicy target. If you were a little guy who had very little money going through and they did the investigation on the dating site and said, well, this guy only got $300 out of this, forget it. And he doesn't do much of anything else. You know, he works in a factory somewhere and he just does this for fun. Forget about the guy. But if you're big and you're making a lot of money doing other stuff, they're going to look
I'm not talking about the money, I'm talking about my brand.
That's what he's talking about. He's
Yes,
saying you're a target.
because your brand is very successful. And they look at that, believe me.
What Clyde is saying is actually correct. They do, before they come to you, they are actually very, very good, and we would be very, very silly to not take them seriously in terms of how good they really are doing their homework before they come to you to get the information. They know if you're some schmuck and that by going after you, all they're going to get is taking the site down or what have you. For that sort of stuff, they generally refer it to some other department. The FTC is very, very good at what the United States government has been very, very good at for many years, and that's collecting money. They are very, very good.
See, government does work.
And so believe me, Colin, they've done their homework. You know, they know exactly what your business is and who you are.
Mike.
Quick one. Okay, I'm based in Canada, as people know. You said our FTC goes beyond borders. I'm a small-time affiliate. Does it mean that I need to rush to my hotel room inside my backend and remove all my dating banners I have in all my 63 sites?
No, you don't have to go running to your hotel room and taking everything down. But what I would tell you to do, Michelle, from Quebec Expo, it's a very good show, by the way. Cheap plug for my man over there. What I would tell you, Michelle, is that it is a good opportunity. I never, for 10 years and as long as I've known these guys up here, I don't stand up on these panels and I don't do the whole hire me or else bullshit. I'm very proud of what I do. I'm very, very confident in my abilities, but I would tell you that now is a good time to pick up the phone. Whether it be me, whether it be any of the gentlemen on this panel, whether it be any other adult entertainment lawyer that you can always find, courtesy of the First Amendment Lawyers Association, is that it's probably a good opportunity for you to have someone review what you're doing. I'm not saying go out there and pull your servers out of the wall and change your name and move to Budapest. I'm not doing anything like that. But I am saying it's a good opportunity for you. We know that there's a problem. We know that they're looking, and we now know that the adult industry is on their radar, that we've got their attention.
Okay.
It's a good time to review your sites. Take a look at what's going on, see what they think.
Okay. It would be good if you used the mic.
Sure, no
Okay.
problem. I'm a producer, and what you were talking about earlier about underage, shooting underage models, I shoot Mickey Mouse ears where I make them hold their IDs on either side of their head. What repercussions would happen to them for, say, it comes out that they're, for, say, another production company that got brought to the light that they were underage, and I find out that they work for me? Does anything happen to them, or just me as the producer? Am I solely responsible because they held up the IDs, got pictures and video of it?
Okay, you're looking at me. Do you want me to answer that? Or
I vote for you on this one.
Okay, and if I understand, the hearing is a little bit fuzzy in the acoustics of
I'm
this
sorry.
room. You're talking about images that are going to an affiliate, and whether the affiliate, if the girl turns out to be underage, may be on the hook for child pornography?
No, I'm a producer.
You're a
And if I
producer.
shoot somebody who's underage, but they're holding their IDs that they presented to me on either side of their face, they're called Mickey Mouse ears.
Okay.
I do that as an extra measure to protect myself, and so they can't say, I didn't agree to this, really, because you're holding up your IDs on either side of your
We
hat.
have a case that comes out of the United States Supreme Court that came in the wake of the Tracy Lords scandal.
Yes.
Some people are very young in this room and don't know it, but Tracy Lords was the biggest sensation in America, did 120 videos. She was a centerfold in Penthouse, she did all the others, and when it all shook down, turns out she was 15 years old. And she had a valid California state ID and all that stuff, and they charged the guy who was in Hawaii, who was distributing it, who believed, like we all did in that era, that she was an adult. She sure acted like an adult in every way you can imagine. Okay? And the answer from the U.S. Supreme Court is that child pornography is a crime of knowledge. It has a scienter requirement. You're not guilty of child pornography unless you know or reasonably should know that the person is underage. If someone comes to you with an apparently valid ID and you call up the Secretary of State of Nebraska, where she's the well-fed girl off the well-nourished girl off the cornfields, and they verify it's a valid ID and it looks like her, and you comply with Section 2257, which is your best friend in that kind of a case, punctiliously, the odds are remote anyone is going to proceed against you. If you can establish you have the records, that you called the state, you did all these right things, no one's going to waste their time prosecuting you, and certainly not your affiliates. If, on the other hand, you don't even check to see whether it's in the right form to be a Nebraska driver's license, and you act with reckless disregard and don't comply with 2257, wouldn't be surprised that you get charged. We might still get you off the hook, depending on other factors that establish your reasonable issue as an adult. But you, by not doing those things, throwing away your best proof to head it off before you even get charged.
No, what about her?
What about the girl underage? Nothing. She's a victim.
Beth.
She's a victim. That's the party line. She's a victim of commercial sexual
Willingly,
exploitation.
though.
Trafficking.
You are the
Yeah,
evil
willingly,
predator.
though. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
You're still liable, it's just, it just reduces what they can do because you did your due diligence, but you would still be liable, correct?
Not criminally liable. The question is criminal liability.
It's a defense. The burden is,
You're right, it's
in a criminal
defense.
case for producing child pornography, the burden is on you, and I was a prosecutor for 7 years. The burden is on you to establish that you reasonably believe and diligently check to make sure that the person was an adult and you got fooled. And if the jury will get instructed on stuff called willful blindness, you know, you turn a blind eye to the thing. Don't show me any of your other ideas.
And there have been other more recent cases of performers underage who used government-issued fraudulent IDs. And the producers, I
don't know, maybe I don't know of any underage case where the performer didn't have something.
Well, that's exactly the point, because no producer is going to do that. It's just insane.
Well, I mean, they weren't fake IDs that somebody got down
Right.
in Eco Union in
No.
Los Angeles. They're real DMV
That's right.
ID cards.
That's right. They were fraudulently obtained, but they were government-issued IDs.
There was a big case that was publicized by the Free newspaper in Miami involving a girl named Bianca Moore, who was a 15-year-old from Nevada,
Right.
and was a fugitive. She'd already had stealing automobiles on her criminal record. She wound up living with a woman, getting her driver's license, just like Tracy Lords, and shot for Reality Kings. And within days after, and Reality Kings did everything it was supposed to. They verified the form, everything. And within days, they got tipped off, this is an underage girl. They called the FBI immediately. They took it down, but it was too late. It was already on all the pirate sites. It was all over the internet. And eventually it wound up in litigation where her grandmother brought lawsuit on it. And this is all real scary stuff, and it's real dangerous stuff. I want to tell you about one resource. I pay $300 a year to keep in my office the U.S. Identification Manual. It has a serial number on it. You can only get it if you can prove that you have a legitimate basis for it, because Homeland Security is desperately afraid that terrorists and crooks would use it to make fake IDs. And it gives all the hidden codes and secret codes. My clients know I have.
I'm throwing
I'm
an
gonna get
adult
one of
film
those.
festival out here next year. Would I
Pardon me?
qualify to get that, right?
I'm sorry?
I'm throwing an adult film festival out here. I would be able to get one of those, correct?
Probably so. It's published by in Redwood, California, a company called the Driver's ID Manual Company. They're easily available. They have various versions. I've got the full 3-ring binder thing that's updated 4 times a year. You can get a cheaper version for about $30. It's a paperback and less
Okay,
comprehensive.
we really have to wrap this up. We've gone way over, but we have a couple more questions, or one more. Maybe we'll just take one more and, go ahead, sir, stand up and let's, or
When it comes to copyright infringement, like a foreign company, is it the same criteria like the FTC?
Okay, the question is, when it comes to copyright infringement with a foreign entity, is it a similar dynamic as with the FTC?
Also, what code comes with?
Copyright infringement is a whole seminar. I mean,
Well, we've had those, and we'll have more.
no, really, I think his question is, we'd be here another hour. We'll all talk to you out there.
The short answer to your question is no. It's a completely different process.
But it's more complicated than that, so you want to follow up. Anyone else that wants to ask a question? Okay, listen, a big round of applause. And the GFY Awards are non-unanimous